superintends the building up of the organism, but how many of us consider that master in men when at meals? And this is what I would like to draw attention. Mr. Judge, he says, that self does not exist by reason of food, but in that state, causing the body to be visible and to act through the food used. And then, because it was not clear, he translates it and rephrases it this way. The self exists in close proximity to the heart and causes the body to exist by reason of the food which it takes in for its subsistence. He says, that is, if the self were not there, the body would not exist, and that the self procures vital airs from the food which the one life causes to be digested. This is very, very, very interesting. Some call him Agni, fire, others Manu, the lord of creatures, others Indra, others the vital air, and again others eternal Brahman. And that quotation comes from Laws of Manu, chapter 12, verse 123. Again the Gita. I enter the earth, supporting all living things by my power, and I am that property of sap which is taste, nourishing all of the herbs and plants of the field. Becoming the internal fire of the living, I associate with the upward and downward breathing and cause the four kinds of food to digest. Most food, it is stated, is eaten heedlessly to its higher nature. So when we eat food, we need to consider its higher nature. Who is to be invited to our dinner table? Krishna. And through that, the one life. How would our mode of eating would be then if this was to be practiced? When a meal proceeds along the lines of thoughtless automatism, how can the elemental lives making sacrifice receive due benefit? How can the self procure vital airs from the food which only the one life can cause to be digested? So, the recommendation: try and set up a habit in that material unit whereby we may, as incarnated beings, know the self. Quotation marks, not mine. I again quote from HPB when she quotes from Homer's 7th Odyssey. Our gods appear to us when we offer them sacrifice. Sitting themselves, this is in italics, sitting themselves at our tables, they partake of our festival meals. We should put this on. If we sacrifice, then sitting themselves at our table, partake of our festival meals. This is a direct quotation. Whenever they meet on his travels a solitary Phoenician Again, italics, they serve to him as guides and otherwise manifest their presence. We can say that our piety approaches to us them as much as crime and bloodshed unite the cyclopes and the ferocious races of the giants. So to help the smallest creature upon its upward way is the sacred duty of every student of theosophy. Food taken when the master in man resides at a meal is one of the means of serving the whole of life. Nourish the gods, that the gods may nourish you. And this is what we read in the Gita. Those who dress their meat but for themselves eat the bread of sin, being themselves sin incarnate. Again, Mr. Judge, anon the gods descend and then they return to heaven. Quotation. In man, as in nature, it is the action which is the sacrifice that makes to arise the waters of life, producing the food by which beings of all classes are nourished when the sun is there. This sun then is the representative of the central spiritual sun in our world. It shines on everything without any differentiation, and the rain falls everywhere where it needs to be. And if we have deserts, then we're responsible for creating them. Because if we are noble, if we are sacrificial, we will never ever go without food. But when we forget our duty and we disharmonize our environment by cutting the trees and making our slope mud piles and changing the patterns of the rain, then we shall suffer drought and we will suffer loss of food. And that is also coming. And that will be another chapter in this talk. So, on that note, we will now open it for questions.